Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
This is a little bit of a different episode than anything we've done before. This would usually be where we would slot like a mailbag episode. But basically all that happened was I was looking at like, was there any Al media between the end of the Weird Al show in 1997 and the release of Running with Scissors in 1999? And I found 3 television appearances.
Yeah.
But then I realized, man, Al was pretty active in like music video cameos and more astonishingly music video directing in the 80s and 90s that we just have like never talked about.
No, and I'm really glad
outside
that
of the Ramones. You mentioned the Ramones.
We did
once.
mention he had a cameo in that Ramones music video, yes. But I'm really glad that this was discovered because this was a journey.
There's
visiting
there
some,
are some
new
highs
avenues
and
for
some
Al
lows.
Here. Yeah.
So I broke them into 3 buckets. And let's start with the bucket that I think will be the quickest to discuss, which is Al appearing in like TV and media in 1998.
The Drew Carey bucket.
Yeah, well, there's 3 things in that bucket,
I know.
but yes. So the first one is Drew Carey Show,
Yeah.
season 4. The episode Drew Between a Rock and a Hard Place. I'll tell you, man, Drew Carey Show is hard to find streaming anywhere. I had to do a lot of searching just to find this minute clip that I was able to send you.
Yeah, which is, and I definitely didn't really watch this show. How long did the Drew Carey Show run?
9 seasons.
9 seasons. That is
9
so
seasons.
crazy. Was he doing this alongside Whose Line Is It Anyway, or did that come after?
Matt, so do you have Plex? I'm going to start with that.
I do have Plex, yeah. I do have
okay.
Plex.
I don't have Plex.
Okay.
Drew Carey Show is apparently streaming on Plex. That's the only place you can watch it.
Okay.
So the thing that's fascinating with the Drew Carey Show that I remember as a kid, and I actually did a little bit of reading for research on this, that I think you'll love about the Drew Carey Show is, you know, let's say the first season is, you know, the Seinfeld story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this comic has a unique personality. Let's give him a sitcom and see what happens. Then you get to the second season, and this is where, like, the show is an unexpected hit. Drew Carey is like a household name, and he's given free reign to do types of stuff. And the show became this fascinating... You'll never get to do something like this again, I guess is what I'm saying. So what they did was Drew Carey started doing episodes like intentional continuity issue episodes where they would hide mistakes throughout the episode and have a contest for viewers to write in what were the continuity errors and mistakes in the episode. And like whoever got the most correct answers would win like signed autographs from the cast and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Or he would start bringing in the cast of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And they would do fully improvised episodes live of the show like 3 times for the 3 different time zones and stuff. Like it became like this crazy, like you'll never get a sitcom like that again type thing.
Yeah.
It had like 4 different theme songs. Like, he just would constantly change the theme songs at random and not like, you know, like I've seen One Tree Hill, for example, the theme song for the first 6 episodes was Gavin DeGraw's I Don't Want to Be. And then in the later seasons, they had different musicians cover the theme song. But I mean, he had 3 completely different songs. Like the only other show I can think of that did that was like Boy Meets World.
Right.
Where it's like, you know which era you're watching based on what the opening credit song is, because it could be Moon Over Parma, it could be 5 O'Clock World by the Vogues, or it could be the President's United States covering Cleveland Rocks.
And that's
which
the
is
version
one
I know. I was just going to say, looking at the list, the Presidents of the United States, another Al connection, doing Cleveland Rocks is the version that I would have seen. I definitely watched like periodic episodes of this show, but you know, there is a real... It's kind of an amazing thing to me, and I'm not like, you know, I'm generally a pop culture guy, but TV is something I don't follow super closely, especially like primetime TV. It's just one of those amazing things. The number of shows that feel like, again, you said like this show is actually even hard to find now online, and yet 9 seasons, 233 episodes of the Drew Carey Show. It's incredible.
I have that with like, there's that show The Middle that like I know existed, but it's like 10 seasons deep. Like I had no clue that for 10 years that show was running on television. Like the length of some shows is outrageous to
I
me.
remember someone saying to me a while ago, like, look at Ted Danson's IMDb and the number of series he was on that you've never heard of that ran for years. It's like, how did Ted Danson do this? How is it possible? And they just went and went and went. It was like, my God, this man has been worked to death. How is he still doing it?
Well, I think, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. I love that this episode is coming right off the heels of the Weird Al show, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're getting this weird look into like almost every single thing that we're about to talk about has some connection back to the Weird Al show. This couldn't have been a more perfect episode to do, because Drew Carey has what, like a 10-second cameo in an episode of the Weird Al show as a botched plastic surgery
10
thing.
seconds might even be a stretch.
Yeah. Like, he looks in a mirror, he yells, and puts his head back in a box. But this episode is about Drew Carey forming a cover band, a bar band, whatever you want to call it, that is beloved. And he's
a blues
the accordion
band where it seems like, Drew is playing accordion in like a blues rock band.
There's a really pretty song in this episode, because when I was looking for it, I did find like Drew Carey song from this episode where it's almost like They Might Be Giantsy. Like it's like a rock song with accordion, but it's just about how much he loves being in Cleveland. Like that it's his home away from home. But he's in this band and it's a beloved band, but he decides he's going to quit this popular rock band and he's going to go stay at his work where people need him. And I had to laugh when he looks at the band. He goes, "So if you guys aren't too mad at me, I'd really appreciate it if you played me off."
And also before that, I love he says to the crowd, he's like, yeah, you know what? This is pretty cool and everything. But this guy, like, he announces that they've gotten this massive tour and then he immediately quits on stage in front of it. Like,
do you remember what the tour is? They're playing exclusively Ramada Inns.
They're playing every Ramada Inn in Ohio. They were doing a tour of all the Ramadas. And everyone's like, wow, that's really great. Good for you guys. But then Drew immediately quits, because he's got things that he needs to do at home. And he drops the line. He's like, you know, a lot of people depend on me and nobody does what I do exactly the way that I do it. Now, how many people here can say that? And it pans to the crowd and like everyone's hand just goes up. And he's like, all right, well, fair enough. And then, he asks the band to play him off stage and they just start playing a song as he like sadly leaves. He puts his like cool guy, like a fedora on and picks up his accordion and walks away like the incredible, like Lou Ferrigno going down the street.
Wanders off, and then immediately the guitarist goes, well, that was a bit of a surprise to us, but also a bit of a relief because we were about to dump him before we took the tour.
Yep.
And then they introduce their new vocalist, Weird Al Yankovic, who jumps up and he brings his accordion and he goes, I hope you don't mind that I brought my accordion, to which the guitarist says, I didn't know you played accordion.
Yep. Uh-oh.
And that's the end of that cameo.
That's it.
And that could have been the weirdest thing that we talked about today, but
not even close.
Desperation Boulevard. I did not watch this. I just watched the 10 seconds that we needed to watch. But
same, but I kind of want to watch it now.
This is a film starring Madame Judy
Tenuta, yeah.
Judy Tenuta. It features cameos from Burt Ward, Emo Phillips, and obviously Weird Al, we're going to talk about. And it's about a washed-up child actress that Judy Tenuta plays, trying to make it big in Hollywood. It was written and directed by Greg Galenda. Galena, who wrote the original Meet the Parents movie in 1992.
Ooh, good find. I didn't catch that.
The 2000s Ben Stiller movie is an adaptation of his original indie film from 8 years earlier, which means that he gets money for all of the sequels, too. So he's...
God bless him.
He's
Well
doing
done.
all right. The only other noteworthy thing he wrote that I vaguely remember, I don't think I've ever watched this movie, but he wrote It's a Guy Thing, which starred Jason Lee, Julia Stiles, and Selma Blair. Like, I
Yes.
remember that box art. I have no clue what that movie's about.
I think I saw that movie. When I was a teenager, I was a very, very devout Kevin Smith fan, so I really kind of devoured everything that was tangential. So a Jason Lee movie, I probably did watch it, but I have zero memory other than the box that you're describing. Yeah,
nothing. Al was in this for maybe, again, 10 seconds.
Presenting an Oscar.
Presenting an Oscar, and I did write down his one, because even in these 10 seconds, Al gets a great line in. She's having a nightmare, I guess, about one of her rivals winning an Oscar. And he says, and for the role of the belly dancer in Quentin Tarantino's Blood Sausage Alley.
Blood Sausage Alley.
And then the other thing I had to write down before I was like, okay, that's enough, is you can tell how low budget this is because this is supposed to be the Oscars. She's going up to get the award, and it sounds like there's about 6 people.
It does.
Clapping in the audience.
It does.
She goes up there for her award.
Yes, and then the woman who collects the award, it just starts maniacally laughing at the idea of like, can you believe that someone else turned this role down?
Yeah.
And Judy wakes up in a sweat. Side note, I think from what I could gather of the plot in that little moment is that she gets an offer for a role as a belly dancer, but she is pregnant. And she is deciding whether or not she's going to keep the baby or take the role because she's like, she can't do both.
What an insane movie concept.
I know. And
the whole
right
movie's
before,
on YouTube for free. So
right before
that.
this moment happens with Al's cameo and she has the nightmare about someone else getting an Oscar as the belly dancer in this movie, she's talking to a priest and she's explaining the situation. And the priest is like, why? You can't be asking me this question. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He says, you got to go. You got to leave. This priest basically kicks her out of a church for even suggesting. I laughed. I mean, it seems like it almost felt like John Waters-ish to me, at least the very small amount that I saw.
And the box art looks very John Waters.
Yeah.
I didn't know
caught
what to
my
expect
imagination
from this.
for sure.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
I may eventually check this out.
Yeah.
But this may be one of the most obscure things we've ever mentioned.
Very obscure. Desperation Boulevard starring Judy Tenuta. If anyone's seen it, I would love to know thoughts from people out there. I think I'm going to check it out.
Know. Now, continuing down that route of obscure pieces of 90s memorabilia, we also have Al getting LASIK eye surgery live on television.
This is really something.
Yeah.
This is the fact that this exists is it really makes me very happy.
So I have a friend, Chris La Martina, who has made a couple pretty beloved horror films, WNUF Halloween Special and the Out There Halloween Mega Tape. And the whole concept is like capturing a very specific time period on a very specific format.
Yep.
And then something horrifying happening. So, the first one, WNUF, is like a Geraldo Rivera type expose where things go wrong. And the Out There Halloween Mega Tape is like you're watching someone's VHS tape of when they taped a like alien autopsy, truce revealed type tape.
I actually just watched the Out There Mega Tape right before
so
Halloween, like just a couple weeks ago. Had a great time. I was with a bunch of friends. We watched it all together. What a good time.
He's a great visionary in that. I sent him this Weird Al clip and was like, hey, man, I don't know what you're planning for the next WN Universe type film, but like, remember when celebrities would do surgeries on live TV? Like, there's got to be something to play with that in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I mean,
because this was a thing. Like,
how many people? I would love to know how much of a thing it was. It felt oddly familiar, but then I can't really think of another example.
I mean, Tom Green had his cancer testicle surgery live on MTV.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
like stuff like this did happen like regularly in the late 90s for some reason.
Well, so
we were all about watching our celebrities get a surgery.
It was just proto-reality TV, I guess, right? That's really all it was, is watching these people. I mean, did you notice that on the link you sent, Al has, because this was posted by Al on his YouTube page, and he has a little description of what happened, which I was really grateful for. Al says, I was tired of being virtually blind without my glasses. So on January 23rd, 1998, I got Lasek eye surgery. I was scheduled to do the operation in a normal, private way, but then I was informed by my doctor that he would perform the operation for free if I was willing to let a local TV station broadcast it live on the air. Hey, what can I say? I'm a sucker for free healthcare. Thanks to John Bermuda Schwartz for this archival footage.
Yeah, like this is, and there are so like, I think the best part about this is the non-Al stuff, because like it'll just cut to like one of the parts that made me laugh was, all right, well, we'll go in order, but like, there's literally a point where they're just like trying Boston cream pies.
Well, so this is like spread out throughout the whole morning of them trying to, they keep jumping back to Al mid-surgery. And so but like interspersed, you have all these other random moments.
Al stuff. Yeah, it's just the Al stuff in this, but I think it makes it funnier because you have no context for like whatever they're signing off from doing before they go back. But she first introduces Al, and the first thing he says is, "I'm on drugs."
and
it's clear this is the most
he is
sedated
definitely
Al
on
Yankovic
drugs.
has ever
He is
been.
on drugs. It is a wild thing to see for someone like Al, who I feel like, and the news anchor even says it after the first segment. She was like, I kind of like Al on drugs.
Yeah, she goes, I like Al on drugs.
He's a little bit more like subdued. He's a little bit more mellow.
What did she say? At one point, she goes, are you nervous about this? And he's like, no, I woke up and I said, this is the day I get laser-assisted Mesa.
Yeah.
Like, he says whatever the medical terminology is.
Very, very medical term for it.
But then they're like, all right, we'll check in later. And the part that made me laugh so hard is they're like eating some Boston cream pies. Yeah. And then they're like, let's go check in on Maria. And they're like, hi, Maria. And she just goes, hi. And then it's this long pause. And they're like, so how's Al doing? And she goes, then she's
yeah, he's fine.
Like, it's like she had no clue that they were live on the air and thought they were just checking in with her.
They were just saying, hey, yeah, exactly. It's
I don't think I realized how bad Al's eyes actually were when he explains that without his glasses, he couldn't even read that top. Like,
the doctor says that pre-surgery, his vision was 21,000.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, that is incredibly bad.
Yeah.
And it's also worth noting, this is 1998. LASIK eye surgery is brand new. The woman anchor on the news show straight up says that she doesn't trust it.
Yeah.
She blatantly, she's like, yeah, I know someone who had this and said that it was the worst mistake of their life.
Yeah.
And of course now it's like LASIK is incredibly common, and it is, I don't remember seeing footage like this. It was kind of amazing to see because the eye doctor is explaining, the surgeon is explaining to the, on camera. And that's why Al does this as well. They're trying to show people that it's safe and it's good to do.
Yeah.
But that doctor is just like literally just describing it as like, this is a miracle that we can do this. This is a miracle cure for your vision. And when you watch it happen, they do this to Al. And before Al, he's still on drugs. His eyes are dilated like crazy. And immediately he looks at the chart and he can read the whole thing down. Yeah. Instantaneously. It is incredible.
Yeah. It's an incredible it's something that I don't ever want to do for myself, but it's more that like my vision's not nearly as bad as Al's was for starters, but like for me it's more, I've had glasses since I was like 10. Mm-hmm. So it's like for 30 years I've identified myself by my glasses. You know what I mean? Like to me it's more of an identity thing than a fear thing.
When I was a kid, and it would have been probably, I guess, around this time. The memory is tough for early stuff. But my dad wore very thick glasses forever, and he had LASIK, and all of a sudden he didn't wear glasses anymore. And as a kid, too, you have this moment of just like, who are you?
Yeah.
Only you take the glasses off and suddenly it's this very strange experience of like, wow, this is just a different person.
People have to think about it, but I'm sure they've experienced it. Like someone shaving a beard that you've known exclusively as a beard person.
Oh, yeah.
That would happen at my work all the time. This one dude would shave his beard one day every year. And for that one day that he came in, you couldn't recognize him. You would be like, where's Joe?
Everyone's horrified.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
I got to give some credit to the camera guy who really goes above and beyond when they're talking about the eye chart.
Yes.
Because he's like, even this top line, when Al tries to look at it, it's all blurry. And as he's saying that, the camera guy blurs out the lens on the camera, almost to give us an idea of what Al's vision is like up until that point.
Oh, they're having a great time shooting this. And then that camera guy is getting in there. Al is on the operating table. They are putting droppers in his eyes. And this guy has a zoom like right up on Al's face.
Right up in there. She asks her how he's feeling. He goes, well, there's nothing like getting sensitive eye surgery on live television. And then she goes, I hope you're getting an idea for a song parody from this. And he goes, well, I already wrote Like a Surgeon, but maybe I'll write a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, thoughts for Al, too, who is like, again, on drugs and
He's
getting
on
eye
drugs
surgery.
And obviously uncomfortable with it. Like, I think that...
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think that you can tell that he is more uncomfortable about the news interview portion of this than the actual Lasek part of it.
It must just be because he's on medication. You know, he is a comic. I'm sure in his mind, he's known for being smart and quick and quippy and have all this stuff. And this is a lot to be in the middle of, to be on something, to be sedated on an operating table and then be expected to like make jokes about your next parody is like, oh man, that's a real like, he was just like, I hope he saved a lot of money on his surgery doing it this way.
I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he did.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hey Geekscapists, it's Matt Kelly here. You know me from my appearances on basically every show on the network, as well as the work that I do on our YouTube channel, Geekscape TV. And I'm here to let you know that on December 6th, we are having the 5th annual Geekscape Holiday Live Stream Spectacular. That's right, another 24-hour event of us going through all the different shows, hanging out with each other, and most importantly, trying to raise money for the Big Brothers Big Sisters of coastal and northern New Jersey. We've made it extra easy for people to donate this year. Just go to geekscapegives.com. It'll take you right to our donation page so that you can go and make a difference in a child's life. Also, we're hoping that you'll tune in. If you're a night owl, from 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 6th, we'll be running a 9-hour video of some of our favorite moments from the first 4 live stream events before we dive straight in at 9 a.m. We'll be talking to Charlene from Big Brothers Big Sisters. We'll be watching some silly videos together. The people from Horror Movie Night and Jersey Ghouls are going to be ranking all of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. There's going to be music trivia from One Hit Thunder. Napping Through Happy Hour is going to be doing a collab with other people from the podcast. The big final event at 10 p.m. is a giant Geekscape role-playing game where we are Muppets trying to save Santa Claus. There's not going to be a single second that you're going to want to miss of this live stream. So whether you're at work or at home, throw it on in the background. Let us entertain you for 24 straight hours of podcasting gold. And more importantly than any of that, visit geekscapegives.com redneckstop.com and make a donation. You can make a donation starting today, but the live stream is December 6th. We hope you'll tune in. But now let's move into something that doesn't get talked about enough, which is Al Yankovic, the music video director.
Yes.
We talk about Al Yankovic's directing as his own videos, but he's been hired to direct for other people. He did 2 Jeff Foxworthy videos, but the one is like impossible to find. I could not find a copy of Redneck Stomp anywhere. Were you able to find a copy of it?
And incredibly, where I found it was, so I'm not a Spotify user. I have Apple Music subscription, and on Apple Music, they have music videos, and the Redneck Stomp music video is there. So I was able to watch it there. So
well,
did you not get to see it?
Yeah, tell me what I missed on Redneck Stomp.
It's super fun. It's got these big... actually, I made a note that it reminded me of the video for Mbop by Hanson, where it has these big sort of like psychedelic color, nature swirling backgrounds and stuff.
Al, from all these videos I watch, my biggest takeaway is Al loves a green screened mouth and psychedelic colors because they keep finding their way into every one of these videos.
Yes. It was definitely a lot of that. There is a hilarious dude in the middle of the video who randomly appears playing upright bass with these massive, super colorful glasses on, and he just looks like he's having the best time of his life. The video is fun. It's well done. It's, again, mostly Jeff Foxworthy on green screen. I mean, talk about a moment in time scenario. These are 2 songs.
Songs with
by
big quotes
Jeff
around
Foxworthy,
them.
I'm going to say, but what they actually are just someone made an instrumental backing track and then played just his stand-up comedy over the music with laughs and everything is in the audio.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that it had to have been at that point, because this is 94, 95 that we're looking at. This is at that point where people like Adam Sandler and Dennis Leary have like actually made these well-selling comedy albums.
Yes.
And we're in the middle of the music video boom.
Yes.
So it's like we have to do something. There has to be something.
Yeah. They must have thought this was going to be just another way for him to sell records. And
because he's not really a musician. Like, it's not like with Dennis Leary where he does the asshole song as like the opening track to his comedy special.
Or even Adam Sandler. I mean, those guys
Sandler doing the
making,
same thing. Yeah.
They're making stand-up comedy albums that also have songs on them.
Yeah.
This, to me, I did not listen to an entire Jeff Foxworthy album, but it seemed to me like this Redneck Stomp thing. And Redneck Stomp is basically an instrumental version of his You Might Be a Redneck bit that he was legendary for. The whole, like, the audio is him just doing You Might Be a Redneck jokes.
Yeah.
With a electronic banjo loop thing happening underneath it. I mean, it is an incredible example of what was happening in 1994.
Well, I mean, apparently Redneck Stomp worked well enough that it got a sequel the year later with Party All Night. Of all of the videos that we watched, or that I watched, I obviously didn't get to see Redneck Stomp, but Party All Night feels the most like a Weird Al video in just that it is like this house filled with goofy characters doing goofy shit. I clocked Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes, Michael Berryman, I did notice him as well. He also, I noted, Michael Berryman had a small role in Spy Hard, which happened shortly after this. I don't know if Al and Michael Berryman connected at all on Spy Hard based on what we know about that production. Al probably came in after, but just another connection there. Yeah, Michael Berryman, a legendary horror actor and just an actor, I guess, but better known for horror roles.
But this video, probably more than any of the other videos we talk about, which is wild because one of them does have a parody of a pop culture in it. Mm-hmm. This one felt the most familiar to Weird Al music videos.
It had Dare to Be Stupid energy. It had UHF energy.
I literally wrote, there's a guy having crazy dance moves on the floor straight out of Dare to Be Stupid. Yep. Like having the mouths on the cows and the inanimate objects feels very Dare to Be Stupid to me. Like there was a lot of Dare to Be Stupid being utilized in this. And I actually thought that the video was like, I might rewatch this video. I was like, this was a fun video.
I agree. It was fun. I don't feel we don't need to fully discuss the merits of Jeff Foxworthy's songs at this moment in time. I actually, for the most part, found this to be very quaint and just really one of those, like, I can't believe that this actually happened in time. It's especially, again, I'm lost. The idea that it's literally just his stand-up comedy, complete with the laughs playing over the music.
Yeah,
that was so weird to me that they would keep all that in.
They're the verses. Yeah, and then there's like a country band singing a chorus.
A country band named Little Texas. Yes, exactly. Who just sing a hook. This actually is more of a song than Redneck Stomp. Redneck Stomp. You know what? Redneck Stomp almost felt like Babalu music. Where it almost was like a hybrid of, like, we've taken this existing audio and we've just made musical accompaniment for it. And they little efforts to try to make his jokes have more rhythmic flow to feel like they fit in with the groove of the song.
This actually works in a weird way. Like, this does work as a song. It does.
I agree.
And I actually think that the bit is funny and relatable in a way where it's just like, we've all been to one of those parties where the party is way too out of control. Like, one of the parts that made me laugh was when he's like, and then there's that one guy who decides he's the spokesman for the whole party to talk to the cops. It's like, I've 1,000% been at that party where the cops show up and, like, the one dude is just like, I got this, guys.
Yeah.
Then we get a band that, like, talk about a specific alternative rock era where bands were just, like, popping out of nowhere. The John Spencer Blues Explosion with their song Whale. And I only know this band because they have a song on the I Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack. But I was loving this song as I was watching it. And this video, I think, is my favorite of the 5 videos Al directed that we watched. This video is nuts.
John Spencer Blues Explosion also have a really great track on the soundtrack for Baby Driver.
Okay.
If anyone's seen, it's one of the songs that's actually, like, choreographed in the movie. Like, it plays with the action, like so many of the songs of that movie go. I'm not people who are familiar with Baby Driver, but a great band. This was my favorite of the videos by far, because this also felt very. I was impressed with this as a music video. I think Al did a really, really good job. It feels like well shot to me. It feels like he captures the spirit of the band, and the spirit of the band is very, very unique. They are essentially, I mean, it's in the name, but they're like a blues meets punk band.
Yeah.
With a weird, just sort of like alternative rock angle to it. It's kind of not like a great example of a band that Al would, of course, love, because it's kind of not quite like anything you've heard before. It feels different in just a slightly weird way.
I'm almost going to table this video for just a second to talk about the video that I think is the least impressive.
Okay.
But the last video that we watched was Black Crowes Only a Fool.
Uh-huh.
And that video just feels like a straightforward music video. It doesn't feel like, I don't see Al's fingerprints really anywhere on that video beyond him just being hired to shoot a video. That's a perfectly fine video of the Black Crowes performing this song in like 1 or 2 sets. But like, I don't like, there's no moments where I'm like, ooh, that's that Weird Al touch. This John Spencer Blues Explosion is filled with that Weird Al touch in like every frame of it. And that's like, it starts with like the drummer having a third hand pop out of nowhere to feed him a sandwich while he's playing drums. And it's just like these strange moments that don't feel like tacked on. They feel authentic to what the video's tone is. And that's what's impressive about it.
There was also
but it makes me go, I understand why they asked Al to make this video.
Yeah.
Which is like when I watched that Black Crowes video, I'm like, why did they hire Al to be the director of this?
The John Spencer video also features these sequences that are in black and white where the band are kind of playing outside and the camera's just spinning around them as they play. And that reminded me a lot of early They Might Be Giants videos, which we know Al's a huge fan of. They Might Be Giants, like Don't Let's Start and Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head, like 2 of their earliest videos, which were some of the earliest videos that MTV ever showed, are shot outside in New York like that.
See, and I was thinking of Eel's Novocaine for the Soul as well as like a
I can see
video.
that too. I can see that too. But I thought of Al with TMBG because I feel like that must have been something he was aware of and maybe was intentionally referencing there. No, it's a great video, and
Al has a little cameo in it.
Al does have a very little cameo. He appears for just a moment.
Am I incorrect in thinking that I saw Biff Whiff in this music video as well?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Is he the unhoused man that's drinking out of the oil can and the soap dish bottle that like tears up the screen at the end of the video?
Maybe.
Because I know that he's been an actor for decades before Tim Robinson got his hands on him. It looked very similar to me. I was like, this may be early Biff Whiff.
That would be amazing.
There's some really, really, really cool moments in this video. There's a part that like their faces are pressed against glass and they're moving their noses to the rhythm of the song. There's a scene where I'm assuming John Spencer's the lead singer of the band.
Yes.
John Spencer's head pops out of a toilet to sing some of the song. There's like silly string that's been sprayed onto their face, but it's being done in reverse. So you're seeing all this silly string fly off their face. And my favorite, I think this is what I'm assuming happened to make this, is that I think Al had them continuously jump in this alley and move forward just a bit and then edit it so it was only the shots of them in the air moving towards you like they're floating.
Yes.
It's such a cool, like jaunty little cheap stop motion effect that works so effectively.
This is like a 3-minute song and the music video has so many ideas. There's so many different locations, concepts. Like it really is a lot thrown at the wall, and you do definitely get the sense, like you said, the head coming out of the toilet, the weird like rubbing your nose against the glass to look silly, but doing all of that and still feeling like it's this very like raw punk rock music video. I mean, it is both silly and just objectively cool. I really, really enjoyed this. Worth checking out if you're not familiar with John Spencer Blues Explosion, a really great band. This song is on an album called Now I Got Worry that would have come out in probably, 96, 97, something like that.
This was 96.
96.
I'm pretty sure. And then,
cool.
Almost to confirm that it was 96 at one point, the band is doing the Macarena.
That's right.
In the video.
Band is doing the Macarena. There was also a single shot in there where it's just like eyeballs and a mouth singing the song with the background being this horrible strobe light.
Again, like I said, Al loves a mouth green screened onto some psychedelic colors.
It just reminded me of the ending of the Weird Al show with his Earbooker Productions title card that appears with him with the Bite Me audio playing and the strobing effect of like it is just, he's trying to hurt you with this title card.
Well, now we move on to the video that made me remember that he had directed some videos when we were talking about Hanson being on the Weird Al show, and that is the video for River. This is coming from a person who loves Hanson. A very forgettable Hanson song, but my God, Al's job was to film the front and back half of this video, the book ends of this video, and this is 1997. We are deep into the love of both Hanson and the movie Titanic, and Al just so beautifully blends those two things together. So Al shows up as the main guy from Titanic that's interviewing elderly Rose, and he shows up and
Bill
her
Paxton,
wall is
right? It's supposed to be Bill Paxton.
He's supposed to be the Bill Paxton character. Her wall is covered in Hanson memorabilia. And she says, I've been a fan of them since they were just kids. And he gets this look on his face. Because, at this point, they are still very much
just kids. And I'm sorry if I missed, you said, it is the woman from Titanic that they got to do this.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, it is. I checked. It is Gloria Stewart, the actress who played the old woman in Titanic. It is her next acting credit on IMDb.
That's
Titanic,
so good.
and then this music video. Amazing.
She goes, I'd really like to see my drawing now. And it's the drawing from Titanic with her naked with the heart rose. But she goes, I'll never forget that night. It was right after I got my Hanson tattoo. And it says, I love Hanson on the arm. And then she goes, listen, do you want to hear my story or not? Which is the line from Titanic. And then we flash to this like home video footage of young Hanson practicing, because this is off of the 3 Car Garage album.
Yes.
Which was basically that they had 2 independent releases prior to getting signed. Middle of Nowhere comes out. They become this overnight sensation, and very quickly they take a bunch of the songs off of those independent releases. Don't even re-record them. Just put them out as is on this album, 3 Car Garage. And the video does this really weird thing where it goes from a studio version into a live version out of
nowhere. And then just stays
nowhere.
live for the rest of the song. It's so strange. Like, I was mystified. And honestly, when you pointed out, because when you texted me or emailed me this link, you noted, like, Al only directed the Titanic segments. And I was like, thank God, because the rest of this video is a chore. Like,
It's
it's really boring.
straight
It's
to
like
the end.
archival footage of the band, and then it cuts to a live concert scene, and then they just bring in live audio, and all of a sudden the band is live. And again, we said it on the Weird Al Show. I'm going to give credit again. They're a good live band. They actually sound
This is
fine.
just not.
This
is just
song
not
is
one of their good songs. This
It's not
is a
good.
bad
I mean,
song.
let's be real. When they got signed,
They were
made
like 13. Like,
yeah, but Middle of Nowhere was them professionally recording the best songs they had as a very young band.
yeah.
And this
With
is
the Dust
stuff.
Brothers helping out.
Oh
Like,
yeah, with
so-
the Dust
yeah,
Brothers
like,
producing. This is the stuff that was not good enough.
This was the stuff that was not good enough.
Without a doubt.
And also, like, kind of a rarity in Hanson. I'm pretty sure this is like firmly an Isaac lead vocalist song. Like, I think that this is like Hanson basically became Taylor Hanson and his 2 brothers singing backups, but this is the guitarist Isaac singing lead for most of the song.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you look at the Wikipedia for 3 Car Garage, on just about every one of these songs, Isaac is the lead singer,
Yeah.
which must have been what they thought it was going to be
Yeah.
when they were really young. The only songs that Taylor sings lead on are the songs that are demos of tracks that wound up on Middle of Nowhere. The demo of Bop has Taylor. The demo of With You in Your Dreams has Taylor. But every other song, Isaac. Yeah.
Which, like,
it's-
no offense to Isaac, he's a good singer, but I mean, Taylor Hanson had that young Michael Jackson 5 incredible singing voice as a child. How do you not know that that's the one that you're gonna anchor to in that band as soon as he started singing? Like,
I would imagine when you're starting out practically on paper,
just the
it
oldest.
makes the most sense for Isaac to do it. But
Yeah.
then when they actually got professionals in the studio, they were like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
If you sing, you're gonna a lot of ladies are gonna be on board.
Yeah, no, exactly. We end the song, we come back to this Titanic part, and Al goes, but what about the Jewel? To which she says, I don't have any of her CDs. I like Hanson. And he gets frustrated and leaves. And then we get like a shot by shot of the ending of the movie. In the end of the movie, she takes the Jewel out and throws it in the water. In this one, she has a Walkman on and takes out her Hanson CD and throws it into the ocean.
That's it. All the way down, she throws it and does that little same as the movie. She just goes, oops.
Yep.
And it drops it into the ocean and it just floats down to the bottom. I mean,
The Al stuff in this is so good.
it's really funny. I mean, it's just so absurd because even now, like at the time, the moment Titanic came out, it was so over parodied by everybody.
Yeah.
That bit was spoofed a million times. I mean, to this day, we get "I'm the king of the world" jokes, but this is really done very well. Like, considering, I mean, the fact that they got the original actress is amazing, and the fact that the whole bit is just trying to recreate the movie exactly, and she only wants to talk about Hanson, is really funny. I mean, even by today's standards, I'm impressed. It was good.
Yeah. And then the last video that we have is, like I said, Black Crowes, Only a Fool. Song's fine. I know I've never heard the song before, and I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on the video because this actually has some of the most impressive camera movements of any of the videos we talked about. Like,
Yeah. I was
Al's,
going
like,
to say,
visual eye is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just that it doesn't feel like a Weird Al video in the way that the other ones distinctly feel like, okay, I understand why they hired Al and what Al does as a director for this.
Sure.
it feels like you could have hired any director to have made this video. Like, it doesn't have that Al stamp on it.
So you're absolutely right, but I would swing that the other way and actually give that as a mark in Al's favor, because we got 5 videos here. 2 of them are by Jeff Foxworthy. Comedy video doesn't count. I'm not that it doesn't count, but it's a comedy video. The Hanson bit, the portion of it that Al directed, is not actually the music video portion. He's essentially doing a piece of sketch comedy.
And it's a parody.
Not to take anything away, that's fine. It's a really good piece of sketch comedy. It's well made. So when you're talking about just straight videos, it's this one, it's The Black Rose, and it's John Spencer Blues Explosion. The John Spencer one has a lot more comedy and a lot more just like weirdness and abstract silliness in it than this one. This is a straight music video of a very, very hip band from the late 90s. And considering the fact that it just plays like a well-made straight video by a very cool band, I'm impressed that Al made this. It's really well shot. It looks great. I like the song. Black Rose are a hit or miss band for me. They 100%. Have some stuff that I think are great. And then other times it just feels a little middle of the road. I think this is kind of somewhere in between those two things for me. Yeah. But as a director, he could, I mean, Al's solid. He has a great shot in this where Chris Robinson is holding up like a light and the camera pans into the light and then pans back out and it's the head of a snare drum. It's like that quick change of like moving from shot to shot. There's a few really nice things in here.
There's some awesome movements in here for sure. And again, I'm not trashing the directing of it. It's definitely the one that feels the least like a Weird Al video. But this is, and I don't know. This part, I'm going to say actively, I do not know, because this is the only video that has that lower third. Mm-hmm. And I did clock that it just said director Al Yankovic.
It said director Al Yankovic, yeah.
Which is what he did for the Babalu music.
Correct.
Was that it was produced by Al Yankovic. Which to me symbolizes that he wants to separate it. It's kind of like the Mel Brooks being the producer of Eraserhead or Elephant Man type thing, where it's like you don't put your actual name on the thing that's not really like what people come to your brand for type situation. So I'm like, totally. I'm curious if that's like intentional. Like he's like, okay, I'd love to know if River or the John Spencer Explosion had it as director Weird Al Yankovic, because
we didn't get that like, chiron on the side on that one, so I don't actually know. But I mean, based on what we've seen, it'd be fascinating
to know.
Based on what we've seen, I would guess yes. I would guess that he did. It just says director Al Yankovic, and that's just he's not a stage performer. He's just working. He's doing a more technical job. But no, I mean, I enjoyed. All of these videos I actually thought were really, really fun. This was a really impressive little detour of Al and how creative he is. I had a great time watching these.
And now let's get into these last 4 videos we got to talk about that are just amazing little snapshots of time periods, starting with Night Ranger's theme song to the movie The Secret of My Success. A very synth-heavy song from Night Ranger, and it took me a couple seconds to clock where Al was.
He's kind of hidden in this one. He's the trumpet player.
He's the trumpet player. Did you see who the other 2 horn players were in the horn section?
I couldn't see who they were, but then I did see a comment on the YouTube video that said, and now I'm forgetting.
It's Vince Neil and Tommy Lee from Motley Crue and Weird Al Yankovic as the horn players in this video for no discernible reason. I would love, hey, Dave, Ethan, y'all need to get a member from Night Ranger on to your show to find out how this happened. I don't understand why Al was selected as opposed to any other person from a hair metal band, along with the guys from Motley Crue. Like, was Mick Mars and Nikki Sixx not interested? And Al was next on the list.
Very, very strange.
It's so bizarre.
I have to say, I thought this song was pretty good.
This song's shockingly good, and I'm not like a Night Ranger guy. I had a good time
listening to this. I don't think I know a Night Ranger song besides Sister Christian.
Yeah.
But now I do.
So what I learned about this one is that they got this song because Michael J. Fox specifically requested that Night Ranger do the theme song to the movie. I guess Michael J. Fox was a big Night Ranger fan.
He was a big Night Ranger fan, so Yeah, The Secret of My Success. I mean, this is also not a movie I'm familiar with. Are you familiar with this?
I know of it. It came up when we were researching Yellow Oh Yeah for One Hit Thunder.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it's like a dramedy of Michael J. Fox as like a young and up and coming like Wall Street guy trying to climb the corporate ladder. But there's not much Al to talk about with that one. Let's jump to another one that there's not a ton of Al to talk about, but boy, is there a lot to talk about. Rad. Rockers Against Drunk Driving with their cover of Drive My Car by the Beatles. What the hell is this?
It is just, I think the era of these sorts of things might just be over now. I don't know if anyone... Can we get a bunch of celebrities to do something like this again with a straight face? Because I feel like they get made fun of too easily nowadays.
Yeah, there's no way to do it sincerely. This was broken into what I consider to be three parts, really. It starts off with rock, with like Paul McCartney and a couple rock stars. Then there's a definitive country middle where it's like Travis Tritt and a bunch of country stars. And then we go back to rock. And the one thing I wrote down, this is very mean. I don't know anything about him, but I wrote down, I have my doubts that Bret Michaels didn't drunk drive in his life. like he's got a lot of nerve showing up in this video. But finally, at some point, I'm like, man, if Al doesn't show up, I'm going to be mad that I watched this. 3 Al Yankovic show up all dressed like the Beatles singing the beep beep part of the final chorus of this song.
Yes.
And it made it worth it for that one moment.
It was worth it to see Al do that with all these other people. I mean, even running down like all the people, like, so Ringo is in this, Julian Lennon, Harry Nilsson is in this very briefly.
Yeah, he is.
Los Lobos, Melissa Etheridge.
This is Harry Nilsson, I don't think was alive much longer.
No. This was towards the end
might
for
be
him.
Sadly, this might be one of the last things Harry Nilsson did in his very amazing legacy as a person.
Yeah, that is a shame. Who else? Phil Collins, Little Richard, Trisha Yearwood,
Melissa Etheridge kills it on her part. She's the best. She's legitimately the best part in this video is when she starts singing. You're reminded how good she is as a vocalist.
It's also just the funny thing to think about. Like, this is the mid '90s, and it was like.
Oh, this was
in
80s.
the grand scheme
this was
of things.
80. This had to be like 89, 90.
89, 90, right? Okay.
That's my guess, yeah.
In the grand scheme of all of these, of everything, the idea that drunk driving is not okay is kind of new.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing this. It is one of those amazing things to think about now because it is so universally accepted. But for a really long time, it was like, that's just what
not?
I mean, if you've, what else
How
are you
am I
going to do?
get home from a party?
I got to get home. I got to work tomorrow.
But I think the other thing that we need to give a shout out to, because it brings it back to the Weird Al show, on saxophone, Clarence Clemens.
What a guy. What a guy.
So let's go. This isn't the one that's next in chronological order, but I think it's the one that's worth talking about. The last one, I think, needs to be the last one. We got Green Jelly Anthem. And I had never heard this Green Jelly song
Me neither.
before. Opening riff, I immediately thought, ooh, are they making fun of Patience by Guns N' Roses? Because it felt like that. Like, it was like that slow, acoustic, like kind of bluesy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read a note that I wrote. And I said, I'm not going to say that this song is better than Three Little Pigs because it's not. That song is a lot more fun. But I genuinely think this might be the best Green Jelly song. Like, the music and the lyrics are so hilarious, but still somehow genuine. And like, that's how I felt I was like, I kind of love this song. And like, Al only shows up very quickly. It's like a concert video of like all these moments from tour, and you see Al headbanging with them on stage, and at one point you see him like serving them food backstage.
Yes,
but
he shows up with like catering for say. He just sees the backstage footage of Al bringing in like a deli tray. It's like, all right,
but it's like one of those things where it's like, this is it walks this interesting line, right? Because it's clearly making fun of these type of songs, right? Like, and especially in like the late 90s, you had so many of these types of songs where it's like, this is the one to our fans that come out and support every show. And like, he even like literally just quotes American Pie verbatim in one of the verses. But like, it's making fun of that, but you can also tell that there's at least a little bit of sincerity and like, but seriously, I'm really excited that you guys do come out to our shows and support Green Jelly. Like, it even does this great bit where the song feels like it's over and then there's a third verse that shows up for the last minute. Like, it just does so many weird things. And I had a blast with the song. I mean, we barely needed to cover this for Weird Al cameos.
Yeah, Al's presence in it is extremely incidental. But Green Jelly is a wild band, man. Bill Manspeaker, we owe a lot to Bill Manspeaker in the Weird Al world. Got to give credit where it's due. You know, I think I talked about it on the show, but I saw Green Jello. I'm not sure what they're going by exactly nowadays. But only a few months ago, I got to see them live, and it was an unbelievably small turnout at this show. Very, very, very few people made it to the gig, but they still managed to make it feel like you see in that video clip where the stage is just full of people and it's just all of their fans jumping around wearing weird costumes and dancing like maniacs. Like, they were so insistent on people having a good time that basically the entire audience was on stage with them, and then there was no one left to just watch the show. It was just an entire audience on stage dancing with a band as they played to an otherwise empty room. It was kind of the best night of my life.
I was going to say, that to me is a great show. You should steal that.
It was almost perfect.
Steal that.
It was
just
almost
bring
perfect.
out audience members on stage for Teenage Dirtbag.
I had the best. I had the absolute best time. We have done that before. Depending on how big the stage is, that becomes dangerous. But Green Jelly did not seem concerned.
And then the last one we have to talk about. This is the weirdest music video I think I've ever watched in my entire life.
You know, there's something to be said for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level of fame and celebrity and attention, it's clear that people are just like, anything you come up with, they're like, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Liberian Girl.
This is an insane idea.
So I wrote this down and I said, I have every Michael Jackson record. So I know that I've had to have heard this song before. I have no memory of this song. And I also read that this has
song. It's such a forgettable song.
Never been performed live. And the concept of this video is that Michael Jackson is shooting a music video for his song, and everybody's waiting for Michael Jackson to show up. And what we get is just like a who's that of celebrity appearances with his song barely audible for most of the video until the big reveal, which is that Michael Jackson's been filming them the whole time and that was the music video. And it's so fucking weird. We see Al twice because at one point someone asks, hey, is that Michael? And it cuts to Weird Al Yankovic and he turns around and he goes, no, but I think Bubbles is here. And then it cuts to Michael Jackson's monkey Bubbles.
That's right.
Talking with Suzanne Summers.
That's right.
Then
the concept of this video really is...
Look at all my famous friends.
Look at all my famous friends. Look at everyone's phone number I've got who I can get to show up for this video. Just really quick, I'm going to run down.
Is just there for no reason, but
these
that he
people
was supposed to be directing.
Are occasionally talking a little bit in the background. There's a couple little moments of dialogue, but for the most part, they are just chilling on set.
Yep.
And I'm going to run it down right now. In this music video for Liberian Girl, Beverly Johnson, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Sherman Hemsley, Mayim Bialik, Bridget Nielsen, Paula Abdul, Carl Weathers, Whoopi Goldberg, Quincy Jones, Jackie Collins, Amy Irving, Jasmine Guy, Rosanna Arquette, Billy D. Williams, Lou Diamond Phillips, Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta. Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta together doing a scene like from Grease.
A scene from Grease, yeah.
Exactly. Corey Feldman, Steven Spielberg, Debbie Gibson, Rick Schroeder, Blair Underwood, Weird Al Yankovic. Bubbles even gets a credit in this special guest appearances. Suzanne Summers, Lou Ferrigno, Don King, Virginia Madsen, David Copperfield, Richard Dreyfuss, Danny Glover, Olivia Hussey, and then making the ultimate grand appearance at the end, crashing through the set on a motorcycle, Dan Aykroyd. And Steve Guttenberg.
And yeah, we get that one bit where Al points out where Bubbles is, and then we see him playing along with the song on the accordion for a couple seconds with his foot up on a desk. This has to be one of the worst music videos I've ever watched in my entire life.
The song is literally playing in the backgrounds like you were at a party and you wanted to make sure it wasn't bothering anybody. but no one, like the cast, again, like Al plays along a little bit. Like you can sort of see people talking amongst themselves and kind of hearing it a little bit in the background. Like it doesn't highlight the song. It doesn't show anything. That's what I'm saying. All it shows is Michael Jackson managed to get all these people in a room. Can you believe it? Because then the final shot of Michael on the Michael operating the camera, he comes down on a crane shot and he's the one with his eye against the camera lens, and Dan Aykroyd yells, he goes, "Oh, Mike!"
I was gonna say, it literally is like, "Oh, Michael!"
You
like
got
the end of a
us.
kid's show,
and it's just all of these famous actors and celebrities just like all like in one camera shot that Michael is shooting, like waving, like looking at him. Oh my God, it is so weird.
This many people showed up for arguably the worst song on Bad.
It's really not a great song.
No.
Apparently in 2003, Q Magazine ranked the song as number 1001 in their list of the 1001 best songs. So it just barely made the cut. I think maybe they could have skipped this one.
They probably could have skipped this one.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say it made it on their list of 1001 songs featuring Michael Jackson. Because then
that's probably
maybe,
also a list. That's probably also a list.
Maybe that's the acceptable spot. This song is awful. I can't wait to send this video to a bunch of my friends and be like, "You want to see one of the worst, dumbest ideas for a music video I've ever
It's
seen?"
really, it's bizarre. It's super, super bizarre. I would recommend people watch this actually just for the absolute insanity of what this is. It's Michael Jackson just flexing.
That's all. That's all it is. 1,000% what it is. Well, Matt, the wait is finally over for a lot of people because next week we're diving into Running with Scissors. We're talking about The Saga Begins.
The Saga Begins.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.